Good late Sunday afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now with a tornado warning in effect now for parts of Baker County until 5 p.m. At 4:24, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 7 miles west of Maxville or 9 miles northeast of Rayford, moving northwest at 30 miles an hour. So everybody in this red polygon needs to take their tornado precautions immediately. This is just north of Bradford County where this rotation is. That's where we're at in Bradford County. A rotation here showing up on the Doppler algorithm. You can see here it started to kind of pop up a few moments ago. And we saw a little bit of that near Highland there. Tightened up enough there for the tornado warning to be issued. It's not really tight here at this point, but something we just have to take precautions with here as the situation does advance. So again, we need to get folks in that interior room right now in Baker County. We have that rotation on the Doppler radar here, and we need folks to take shelter. I know it's not really tight, quite honestly. Let's check the debris tracker. Sometimes these can kind of touch down on us here with little or no advance warnings in these tropical setups. There's a tornado watch input at 8 o'clock, but we haven't had any local tornado warnings until now. We had a few severe thunderstorm warnings, but this is a tornado warning that's in effect, and we don't have any type of debris signature, luckily, so far. But yeah, we do have a tornado warning in effect. So I know we had our radar stream going, so I had to cut that to jump on here real quick so everybody kind of knows what's going on. But here's our tornado safety tips. When a tornado warning is issued, that means it's been either detected using radar, like in this case, or spotted in other cases. I mean, that can be a trigger for a tornado warning as well. But what you want to do right now is seek shelter inside that sturdy building, get as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and protect yourself from flying debris by putting on a bicycle helmet, a football helmet, or a baseball helmet, and also make sure your shoes are on. So if a tornado were to occur, you don't cut your feet up in its aftermath. As I was alluding to, there is a tornado watch here in play until about 8 o'clock. Let me go ahead and jump on over here to our other mode if I can. As the situation does evolve on us here, I just want to show you guys kind of an overview here of the ongoing situation, because what a tornado watch means is that conditions are favorable for tornadic activity. You want to stay tuned for the latest updates and have multiple ways to receive alerts. So here you go, that yellow area, that is your tornado watch. Until 8 o'clock, we're going to probably have many more of these here in the days to come with Debby. At least the day to come tomorrow, maybe even into Tuesday. That's how long we could be really influenced by something of that magnitude in terms of rotating storms around in our area. The ultimate tracker determined if that lasts even longer or not. It's kind of uncertain at this point if it kind of maybe loops back around, or if we get in that favorable quadrant for the tornadic activity or not. But again, we have a tornado warning right now. That small red box from this view, that's in Baker County in Florida. I know we have Baker County in Georgia, and a lot of times that's where we end up having stuff like this when we're on the air. You know, that's where we generally, in those super weather patterns, things sometimes become a little bit more, magnified with the patterns favorable up there. But kind of unusual accident happened in Baker, Florida, but we're in Bradford, Florida. And we probably have more viewers up in toward Baker County, Florida than we would in Baker County, Georgia. So you can see a little bit of that red, not much green showing up right now. So it's very weak rotation, but these tropical tornadoes generally, not always, but generally would be weak. This definitely looks like it'd be a weak tornado if it were to occur here lower on the EF scale. I know going back to '04 and Tropical Storm Bonnie, that was one of the few strong tornadoes we've really had in our area in recent memory from a tropical cyclone. I believe down in St. Johns County in Irma in 2017 will be another. But as we kind of look at things, just continuing to give you the latest. Of course, here's Bradford County. That's where we're at in yellow. But Baker County is where this tornado warning is right now. And this is moving off toward the north and west. This is some of the action that's actually gone through Bradford County. You saw it on the radar. Didn't have any warning or anything for it here. And then all of a sudden getting that tornado warning as this moves northwest at 30 miles an hour and could be near the Sanderson area around 4:40. So again, a tornado warning in effect right now. Let me go ahead and kind of see another look at things, and you can see Stark under the tornado watch, Gainesville, Trenton, Jacksonville, Lake City, but then Baker County is where the red box is, and that's where the focal point of our attention is right now. But I will say, you know, with this clearing in there, that could help destabilize some things in a way. But I will also say it gives you a little bit more time to prepare too for this storm. In this area here, we don't have shower activity, you know, from Stark through Gainesville pretty much, or just light shower activity. You still have a little bit more time here, you know, again, after, you know, being inside for a little bit with the storm acting around, to go ahead and prepare here for our storm system, for Debby. So, you know, we're still in the outer periphery of things as we kind of look at the overall situation. Didn't see the temperature going up too much, which is good there. I see there was a report earlier in Polk County of a tornado around 158 that got put into the system. Apparently there's some video of that 4 miles southwest of Bartow. It was earlier. But we got to watch this band here. You know, this could start to have more issues for us later, depending on how things come together. And you see our storm system down to the south. I know another thing I'm noticing, it's a little east of the track here. It's a little east of the forecast track, so that could mean the landfall position gets adjusted a little bit east here with our latest update coming in very soon from the National Hurricane Center in Miami. Okay, we're being told the tornado warning's canceled now for Baker County. That's some very good news. The tornado warning for Baker County has been canceled. The rotation has weakened, so no longer in effect. It was slated to go to 5 o'clock, but we're going to see on a few more minutes with this as we're getting this new information in here, and we'll be getting more new information in soon as we kind of look at things. I know, looking, the Weather Prediction Center now has our area, much of it under a high risk now for flash flooding tomorrow. That's coming on in, you know, much of south, central, southeast Georgia, and then areas around Perry to Lake City. A very rare high risk for flash flooding in our area tomorrow. You know, already had that up toward Charleston and Savannah coming into play a little bit earlier on in the picture, but there's enough concern now for just so much rain tomorrow in our area. There's now a high risk of flash flooding on that Monday. So again, watching this carefully, watching our scenario carefully. Excuse me. As we go ahead and look at things, I know I'm going to zoom in down here. So our center, maybe an eye trying to form. So it's about 20 to 25 miles east of where it's supposed to be right now. So that means, and this could wobble some back the other way, but in general, so the last track had it making landfall here, maybe southwest Taylor County, but instead you go maybe, you know, 25 miles over, and you got to factor in the coast, maybe it makes landfall more like down in that red square, that generally in that vicinity of that red square instead. So that would change some impacts, you know, further in, maybe like worsen things for me on Live Oak even. So that could be something we have to watch for carefully. I know the storm surge could be a little bit more magnified too, right? Just, you know, right there on the edge. But into the north of that, you wouldn't have storm surge as much, especially as it comes in. You have the wind going in the opposing direction. So that's something to keep in mind. Just kind of looking at my rain gauge here. We've only had about a third of an inch so far here east of Stark on this Sunday. I guess the 16 miles an hour is all we've had so far. That was in one of those squalls, maybe the one that, yeah, I guess it was probably the one that prompted the tornado warning there for Baker County just a little while ago. Again, that tornado warning has been canceled early, so that's some good news there. By the way, down area southwest Florida, 2 feet of storm surge reported apparently with docks underwater there. We're expecting 6 to 10 feet though in some of our Gulf Coast areas. And then a tornado is reported on the ground in Hardee County there around 12:25. Those reports are kind of just catching up because there's been tornado warnings to our south, but none until this one in our area here. It was a very short-fused one though, which is good news. Obviously, things not holding together too long to kind of have to be that concerned, but you can see there is still very broad and weak rotation near State Road 121, but we don't have to be on the air for that here really anymore because of that dead weekend. But we definitely could have more of these throughout the period of tornado watch and put at 8 o'clock. And we already had a gust of 46 in Perry here with some of this banding. That was around 4:15. Also, Gainesville, a gust into 50 range earlier. You could kind of see that LSR, that local storm report, popping up earlier on of 53 miles an hour. So that was something there. That can cause power outages in an isolated fashion. So something to kind of keep in mind here as we're looking at things, as we're watching Debby here. I know 36,486 customers in the dark in the state of Florida right now. So something to kind of keep in mind here. That number is going to go up quite a bit more as we look ahead. I know in Taylor County, 572 customers, Lafayette County, 1,048, Suwannee County, 496, Gilchrist, 99, Dixie, 31. So that's kind of the storyline there right now. As we're looking at some of that information. Again, just checking things here on the air. Let me see if there are any questions or comments from any of the viewers at home. See if we have anything. Definitely watching the situation here. Looks like we had a comment on the other stream earlier on. A couple of them actually. One on Facebook, one on YouTube. William talking about that. Yes, it's starting to become a little bit, more toward that go time period. And then some wind and rain in Pinellas County was reported earlier as well by John on YouTube, watching on YouTube. So again, just continuing to watch things here. And the tornado warning canceled early there for Baker County. So that's good news. We still got to watch for more of these. A little bit of wind enhancement in southern parts of Hamilton County. I know we had some of this daytime heating come into play here. So, that's been a storyline. So we'll watch that area in Hamilton County, seeing winds about 40 on velocity. Let me see if there's any type of advisory up there right now. And it looks like there is an advisory in that area. We had an advisory over Bradford County, but we didn't have any type of warning. Let me just go, of course, that accident ended up prompting a tornado warning further north. Let's just kind of, go back on some of this here. Let me switch to Jacksonville radar, and I want to loop this back around a little bit. I want to see what the rotation looked like here on it in case something, it didn't really start to develop until right there. I mean, that was a very quick how that kind of developed. Right when it got in the north parts of Bradford County, we saw that rotation. You see at 409, not much in Clay County. Then around Highland, it starts to kind of show a little bit of that, but then that next scan becomes more definitive, and then you have your tornado warning and it starts to fall apart. So there's still a little bit of rod and weak rotation there, but nothing overwhelming. We'll go back on the Debris Tracker again. Let's just kind of go through it here. Let's look at northern Bradford County. And we don't see anything, luckily, so that's good. Just want to make sure nothing touched down on us here before that warning got issued. See if there's any type of damage or anything up there. It's probably unlikely, but let me just check here. Don't see anything reported, so that's good at this point in time. So didn't have any tornado warning for Bradford, but the circulation started in far northern Bradford, and the warning got issued for Baker right after. So again, that's kind of the storyline there. As we're checking things here, that banding, I know, definitely providing some wind. We're going to have to watch the banding to the south here. As we watch the scenario, you can see our storm system, our tropical storm, is trying to strengthen into a hurricane. Excuse me, as we track things here. I know you can see some gusts around 50 around Tampa here. As we look at the ongoing scenario, as we track things here, give you the latest. We'll watch some of this band and see if it becomes tornadic at points. Some of this out here. We'll have to watch that for rotation as well. I know Sarasota County, there's some reports of storm surge there. Surge coming over the seawall around Inglewood. It's about 1 foot deep there on the roadway. So that's kind of the storyline there. Again, the reason we jumped on was for a tornado warning there for Baker County. It got canceled very quickly, though, and that was good news. But we're going to have to just keep watching things here as the situation does progress. But that really fell off there in intensity very quickly, which is good news, obviously. But we still got to watch for more of this potential. We're going to probably have a lot more of this potential as the scenario progresses, because really the tornado parameters, the bulk of them are further down toward the south here. We have that tornado watch and playing the yellow to 8 o'clock will probably get extended. I know instability may be lacking some at points down to the south, but we'll just have to kind of keep watching things. I know the infrared satellite, look at that. That is not what you want to see there. All that convection right where it looks like a center's kind of developed. This is going a little west, but it's probably a little east based on radar. Let me just kind of, so it looks like the center maybe right there based on radar, give or take. And then, I mean, that's kind of wrapping around that, which could really cause us to strengthen, on landfall versus what we had with the Dahlia. Granted, it was a Cat 3 there, but it was weakening some on landfall, and that changes sometimes how the winds get down to the surface. I know it's kind of an odd thing, but we saw a barrel as a Cat 1 in Texas, but we had pretty similar winds down to the surface on the anemometer sites there. Granted, there were more of them, more, chances to get higher numbers because it's so much more populated than what they have down toward Perry, but the numbers are similar. The wind gust numbers are really similar with Beryl, the highest ones, to what we had with the Dahlia, even though one was a Cat 1 and one was a Cat 3. That one was strengthening quickly upon landfall. Dahlia was weakening some, though. So it's about how the atmosphere can bring the wind down to the ground. It's a complicated meteorology and meteorological process, but it's just something that you kind of have to bear in mind here, and that could be really a cause for concern, because it would seem, and we'll probably get an update on these soon. I don't know how much longer I want to stick with this since we don't have the tornado warning, but I kind of wanted to see at least the initial update from the 5 o'clock advisory before I let you guys go. That's to be at any time from the Hurricane Center in Miami, but a hurricane warning effect right now. These could change a little with the inland updates, and I know if we were a couple weeks later, then the Hurricane Center would be in charge of putting all this out, and it would come all at once, but still kind of individual offices have to do the hurricane warnings as they're changing the process after all these years here in a couple weeks. But again, a hurricane warning, this maroonish color, that's where you really got to charge your devices up, folks. You really got to charge your devices up if you're in this maroonish color, because it's a situation where widespread and extended power outages are possible to likely. So you got to be really careful. And I wouldn't be surprised if Suwannee, Gilchrist, maybe Hamilton County, those counties get added to the hurricane warning here, maybe even Levy County, just depending on if this kind of moves over a little bit. If it takes a trajectory more like this, then maybe not. But if it takes one more like this, then maybe so. So that's something to kind of bear in mind here as we're looking at things. I mean, Gilchrist County, they could be seeing a little bit of increase in wind in that situation if this kind of is jogging a little bit further east, like some indications are on Doppler. So again, watching this very carefully here. I know they're getting a lot of rain flooding around Collier County in Florida. Let's jump down there real quick, go to the radar. Out on Naples, some of this information saying there's been 7 to 10 inches of rain already, and you just got to turn around, don't drown in that part of the state, and that's going to be the story. The story up here, you got to remember to turn around, don't drown here. As we look up here, that's the mantra from the Weather Service there. Just got to keep that in mind. Let me check our Tallahassee radar to see how much this is showing in terms of rotation off of the coast of Tallahassee. Nothing overwhelming there, a little bit though. It's going to be kind of squally gusty. You see that gust to 46 in Taylor County just a little while ago. So we got to keep that in mind. We got to keep in mind the storm surge for areas, at the coast here. As we look, I know, depending on where it's hit, if it hits up here, and in these areas would have some of the worst surge, but if it hits down here, then it'd be down on Horseshoe Beach with some of the worst surge. But Horseshoe Beach, Cedar Key, I mean, they're probably going to have pretty nasty surge anyway, because it's probably not going to make landfall south of those areas here. So, got to keep that in mind here too, as we continue to watch the situation, continue to watch the progression of things here. And let me just see if there's any power outages in Baker or Bradford. Right now, none reported according to poweroutage.us in Baker County and Bradford. I know they don't track the city of Stark on here. that grid precisely, but 34 customers out on Clay Electric in Bradford County as of this moment. So, and 511 total customers out on the Clay Electric grid overall as we kind of look at things here across the area. So 34 in Bradford, 165 out on Clay Electric in Columbia County. Looks like, let's see here, as I go through the numbers, 241 out in Alachua, and 14 out in Union, 13 out in Putnam. So none out in Baker on the ones that they have for them. But okay, they only have a couple thousand customers on that grid, that electric company there, I should say, for them. But again, I know they're getting a lot of flooding even in Punta Gorda, getting reports of that now. Extensive flooding in downtown Punta Gorda down in southwest Florida as we track things here. Again, I don't like these cold cloud tops because that's going to be a problem for us locally here. I'm really concerned about that here as we look ahead. I know that's a thunderstorm warning there in the Keys as well, but there's hurricane warnings in effect, which shows are some of the worst you can get. Right now, maybe not expecting extreme wind warnings like what we had in Adalia. Even though, it's tricky because that, the criteria for those are 115-mile-an-hour winds. I don't remember seeing really, much over in the 90 range of the Dahlia actually measured. We didn't have a lot of the site, information there, and because there's just not many of them overall. But, we'll see what they do. If this really strengthens, they might. Okay, we just got a new update in, so let's see kind of where we're at with this. So, I know one thing I'm looking at here right off is they're still plotting the center a little bit further west than what the radar is showing. So that's kind of interesting. Let me see. I'm going to put this on our other mode of satellite. I just wanted to check something real quick. So not exactly aligned then in their eyes because they have the icon further west, but then the Hurricane Center has us making landfall here, as we look, that's in the Gulf, but then as we look, it still has the Cat 1, it has to get more in parts of Jefferson County, Monticello. I know, as we're looking at things, you can kind of see. So Debby expected to become a hurricane tonight and make landfall into Florida, Big Bend area on Monday. And it's going to bring a major flood threat to the southeast U.S. This is some of the updated information for the 5 o'clock advisory. Centered about 120 miles west of Tampa, 125 miles southwest of Cedar Key. Max sustained winds at 65 miles an hour. The present movement is north at about 12 miles an hour. The minimum central pressure 992 millibars. The storm surge watch from the mouth of the St. Mary's River to South Santee River there. I know as we're looking here with this, that's in South Carolina, that's been changed to a storm surge warning. Okay, and then the hurricane warning, they're extending out west. So of the Ocklawahamie River to Indian Pass. It's kind of tricky because some of the models, high-res models and the looks on radar make it look like it's heading more east, but if it does strengthen quicker, it could try to reorganize more west. The hurricanes that are a pretty similar path here, but actually extending some of the alerts a little bit further west here, and the wind field size can play a role in that too. As the pressure lowers and things kind of try to become more organized here. Of course, if the pressure keeps lowering, then that could really, be a situation where the winds end up catching up. But 992 millibars right now, and it was way higher yesterday and on Fridays we're looking at things. So it's really been lowering there. You can see the update there. The slow movement's going to be the problem because, so I'll kind of put some squares in this. That's here at 2 a.m. You see the red square if you look real closely there. That's in the Gulf. 2 a.m. is a hurricane. By 2 p.m., it's just in Jefferson County, still is a hurricane. By 2 a.m. Tuesday, it's in south central Georgia as a tropical storm. By 2 p.m., the center is there, as I say, just on Jessup as a tropical storm, but still being a problem for parts of our area potentially. And then by 2 a.m. on that Wednesday, just getting off the coast of Georgia and then heading off the coast there. All the way into Thursday, and then maybe going back into the Carolina area on Friday with another landfall. And that's just going to be a catastrophic flood event, it would seem. Savannah and Charleston, if that verifies. But some of the other guidance has it shifting back toward the west after It's been over land a little bit, as you can see. Quite a bit of the modeling, the GFS, kind of showing that in green there. So, and it's never know exactly because during currents kind of collapse here, so that can make it kind of a tricky forecast, as we get further in a little bit more than you generally would, generally would have. But, okay, so we talked about the hurricane warning extended west, even though, again, it looks as if it's a little east here as we're looking at the wobbles and the like. But it looks like here, the summary of these alerts that are in effect include a storm surge warning for the Florida coast from the middle of Longboat Key to northward areas around Indian Pass, including Tampa Bay. Georgia and South Carolina coast there from the mouth of the St. Mary's River to the South Santee River in South Carolina. Storm surge watch for the Florida coast from Bonita Beach northward to the middle of Longboat Key, including Charlotte Harbor. A hurricane warning in effect for the Florida coast from the Swanee River to Indian Pass. A hurricane watch for the Florida coast south of the Swanee River to Yankeetown. A tropical storm warning for the Florida coast south of the Swanee River to Bonita Beach. The Florida coast from west of Indian Pass to Mexico Beach, and then Ponte Vedra Beach to the the Savannah River, and a tropical storm watch in effect for areas from the Savannah River to South Santee River, South Carolina. So, watching this carefully. Gonna be really a nasty situation. Still 6 to 10 feet of storm surge predicted from the Swanee River to the Ocklawahnee River. 5 to 8 there from Yankeetown to the Swanee River. As we kind of look at things here in the text of the advisory. And then 4 to 6 there from the Ocklawahnee River to Indian Pass. And the official forecast is calling here in parts of northern Florida up to 18 inches of rain with 6 to 12 widespread. But then in southeast Georgia, especially probably more towards Savannah, but maybe even in parts of our viewing area, and then also into South Carolina, the forecast from the Hurricane Center is saying 10 to 20 inches of rain with local amounts to 30 inches. That's through Friday morning. Today's Sunday. And this potentially, according to them, and in my opinion, could be a historic rainfall event that'll likely result, as we're looking especially in the north there, around Savannah to Charleston, this is potentially going to be a catastrophic flood situation. Maybe, it's going to be maybe similar to what they had with the outer fringe to really just a pattern with Hurricane Joaquin in 2015. It wasn't really directly the storm, it was just a pattern that set up around that. But, other than that, maybe almost in some spots, because some areas will be impacted differently, maybe an unprecedented flood scenario, Charleston and Savannah. But, it's such a tricky situation because, of course, our area could get it pretty bad, but they could get it worse. But if it somehow started out further south, now, some of our areas maybe not quite as flood prone, but then our areas could end up getting worse. I know South Carolina and Charleston, especially that's the low country, below sea level, really. That's not what you want to see down there, as you're looking, with all this rain coming on in. Not good, not a good situation there as we look at things for that area. But our area, some spots could get upward of 18 inches. So, just tracking things here. Again, just continuing to watch things. And just trying to give you the very latest here. Just trying to give you the latest on exactly what's going on. And I see a tornado warning just issued there toward the south, with the way flood watch continuing to 8 p.m. on Tuesday across our area. Again, trying to give you the very latest. And then tornado warning though toward the south. Just coming in parts of Manatee, Charlotte, DeSoto, Sarasota counties. Of course, it's not part of our area. So keep that in mind. We're not going to be on for something like that, like we have to be for our local counties like Baker County and the like. As I see this map, we are getting some new updates here. Okay, we're getting some new updates. They're coming in fast and furious here. As there's another new tornado warning in Collier County to the south in Florida. But, okay, Just getting a bunch of different updates. They all come out at once here as individual statements. They're very hard to pin down, but this should change here once they're just trying to streamline things at the National Hurricane Center as we're looking at things. So I know. By the way, just to clarify there, of course, in South Carolina, the low country, it kind of is above sea level. It's just a matter of still being not that much above sea level to kind of clarify that. But as we kind of look at things here, just seeing our new alerts. So, okay, tropical storm warning now for Union County. That is, an upgrade. Looks like Bradford also has been upgraded to tropical storm warning now from a tropical storm watch. So, it's just coming on in. Again, they do these as individual statements, which is very tricky. So now tropical storm warning for Bradford, though. Okay, hurricane warning now for western Hamilton County. So as I was alluding to, a little bit more concern a little bit further east. Let me see if it's popped up on my other map yet, some of this. Okay, it is not there, but I may be able to try to refresh this. Again, this stuff's coming in live here, and they come in one at a time. So let me see here. There's quite a few different statements. Okay. We got quite a few different areas added to the hurricane warning. So let's go ahead and jump on over then. This is this update in our system. So I can say this now. So our hurricane warning in the maroon has been expanded now to include Live Oak and Suwannee County. Western Hamilton's been added. I know it's not popping in yet. I just showed up my system now. Then we have Brooks County, I should say Lowndes County, Lanier County, all now under a hurricane warning. So, and again, like I said, Western Hamilton's also under it. It just hadn't popped up, but according to my system, that's what it's showing. Again, trying to give it the very latest here. Again, just getting the information on in here to the Weather Center. I know we stayed on a little longer because we had a tornado warning that got canceled there really early, but wanted to get the new update information in while we were on. So I know, looking though, even though the tropical storm warning now been expanded into start, they're not really changing the wind numbers too much right now. The Weather Service in Jacksonville, but still, could have some isolated power outages here towards dark, but widespread outages we're expecting in the areas in maroon here. And inland McCullough also added to the hurricane warning now, it looks like. Again, that's kind of the storyline there. So quite a few areas now under a hurricane warning. So Crawfordville, Wadasta, you're under a hurricane warning now. Live Oak, you're under a hurricane warning. So that's parts of Suwannee County, Live Oak, all McCullough, Crawfordville, Lowndes, Valdosta. So quite a bit more population now with a higher chance to have widespread and extended power outages. So that's what you have when you have a hurricane warning, those type of winds coming on through. So again, that's kind of the storyline right now. Again, trying to keep you up to date here on what's still right now a tropical storm, but expected to strengthen into a Category 1 hurricane. I know we're going to be keeping an eye on everything for you here in the Weather Center, but with no active local tornado warnings. We have a few now downstate. I'm going to go ahead and probably wrap it up here in a few moments, and then we may start another radar stream back. I might just keep things up for a little bit because it's going to be so busy here as we look ahead. Of course, we'll be back on, as needed, and at least, by the time we have our next local tornado warning, we'll be back on the air with you guys. So I know if we don't jump on, if we have some thunderstorm warnings, but don't jump on with the covered, or at least do a radar stream, or post an update in terms of just the radar / the details on the warning on Facebook and on Twitter /X. So we're keeping you covered here. I know it's kind of tricky. You saw the track is not really shifted much, even though there's some indications, looking at the radar, maybe it's kind of shifting around some the hurricane warning's been expanded west and east, so it's kind of a give and take here in some regard. I know this is our wind field forecast, so 2 a.m. you're already seeing maybe hurricane gust of possibility in areas of southern Wakulla. So this kind of in general here, so let's just say these red circled areas, and that's 2 p.m. up here. That would indicate, red circled area hurricane gust, and then the purple area would be a sustained hurricane winds. So that's kind of the storyline there. As you're looking toward like Greenville, but that could shift around a little still. That's kind of what we're looking at there. So, and then really the circled area further out is kind of tropical storm force gusts, which goes a pretty far distance here from the center of things. So, again, just continuing to track things here, try to give you the very latest on our tropical storm. Looking at some maps behind the scenes, I know tropical storm warning now for Duval County as well, so that's been a change that's been made by the Hurricane Center / the Weather Service in Jacksonville. And just going to keep on watching things here for you very carefully. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up for now. Thanks so much for tuning in, trusting me. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. We're tracking Tropical Storm Debby, and I'll be on here as it is necessary. I know I have a few comments more on YouTube. I know some folks watching there, Tampa to Charlotte County to Pinellas County. I know so Tampa area, you're getting some heavy rain right now, and there are some gusts in some of these squalls, up to about 50 there. No active tornado warnings, but there's a tornado watch. I know you see a flash flood warning further to the south around Bradenton as we're looking at things there. I know Charlotte County watching, and there are a couple tornado warnings in your area now. I know we have Pinellas County watching too, and you're getting some rainfall there in that area. But we have a couple tornado warnings right in here around Punta Gorda, one around Punta Gorda, another maybe just northwest there, so near Port Charlotte. So real quick, since we have some folks watching in that area, let's go ahead and just jump to velocity here and to show this here real quick, these tornado warnings. If you're not getting direct, hurricane type impacts, or, if you're not seeing, the flooding impacts, the tornado could still be a problem for you. So you see some rotation here right northwest of Murdoch, and that's in Sarasota County. It looks like in this rotation here right over, it looks like, the waterway here coming up probably closer to Port Charlotte. I know I've been switching radars, so that's why it's jumping like that. But as I'm looping this here, it's going kind of that direction, and then Murdoch there as well, maybe west side of Port Charlotte here next little bit. So some rotation, that's stuff we have to watch in our area later on, potentially, for some impacts here locally. So something to kind of bear in mind here as we're looking at things, as we're monitoring the situation. So I know no active tornado warnings right now, but we do have the hurricane warning now for Live Oak, for areas around Valdosta, Crawfordville, all now under hurricane warning. So not what you want to see, obviously, here as you're tracking the ongoing situation with our strong tropical storm that is expected to strengthen in to a Category 1 hurricane. So again, just continuing to watch things here. That's going to do it for now. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll be back on as needed, obviously. And then we have interactive radar for more not on as well, clutter.com/radar. So keep that in mind. We're back here as it is warranted to keep you, your friends, and your family safe and informed.